This episode of the Long Run Podcast is sponsored by Skechers. Good evening, everybody, and welcome. Oh, hang on, I left that up. Sorry. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the greatest running podcast in. Don't worry, he doesn't watch it. He listens back in the car. Greatest running podcast in the world. It is confirmed as the world. That square thing that we all live on. Now, tonight we are going to be talking about, because we've changed what we're going to be talking about, and I'll tell you why in just a second. We're going to be talking about what is the hardest racing distance. Okay, now we record this live, so if you're just joining us, get in the comments and tell us which one is your hardest distance, and I will ask that question again in a moment when more of you join us live, because we record these things live because we're idiots and we don't care, anything could happen. And so we do that. But I appreciate that over 1 million of you per week download this and listen to it, which is pretty awesome. Now I've got a great team with me tonight. A fantastic team with me tonight. We've got, where is she? Down there. I'm on the team. Marissa's with us all the way from China. Oh, no, she's back home now. She's decided to come home. Wilco's here. He's taken a break from the Euros and betting on the Euros, even though he's not allowed to. He's here.
I could bet.
And Ben has flown in all the way from Poland. He did get arrested, but we bailed him out, and he's here tonight. Although it doesn't look like he needs a haircut. That's the only thing I would say. Again, doesn't help if you're listening to this. Okay, so again, for those just joining, tonight we are talking about what is the hardest race distance for you. Stick it in the comments, yeah? We was going to be doing a run streak, but the person who was meant to be on pulled out at the last minute, which is extremely unhelpful, and I personally take offence by it. But that's one of those things, and we shall move on. But tonight we are talking about what is the hardest running distance, and we're going to be discussing that. But we've got a load of other stuff to get through first. Let's do the sponsorship first. Wilco, who sponsors us?
Skechers.
And where can you find them?
Skechers.com.
No, .co.uk, Wilco. You immediately find
Well, if you go to Skechers.com and you think, oh, no, I want the UK one, then you'll put UK instead. So it's a stepping stone. Really.
You got yourself out of jail. Well done. Marissa, what's the start fitness code?
FORDY runs.
Well done. And Ben.
I think it's just 40, isn't it?
No, it's 40 runs. It's 40
Is
runs.
it 40 runs?
And Ben, you love Kendall Mint gels in particular. What is the code to get money off at Kendall Mint?
I'm going 40 runs as well.
Correct as well. Okay. Next week, I'm going to make it a little bit tougher because there's some other ones out there a little bit naughty. Last plug is to get over to 40runs.com/coaching and check out our performance coaching app, which is absolutely destroying everybody out there at the moment. So make sure you get over there if you want some help, want to get faster, want to just get a bit more consistent. That's our new thing, and it's definitely worth the money. Right. So this weekend, I'm off to Leeds for the 10K. I just want to give a shout out because there's a get-together, a kind of meet-up. Although we're not allowed to publicise it because Parkrun got a little bit upset about it because they don't want too many people coming or something. Woodhouse Moor Park Run is where the guys from our Leeds Rhinos group are meeting. So if you're up in Leeds and you want to get along to the Woodhouse Moor Park Run, don't tell them that FORDY sent you because they'll get even more upset with me. But just get yourself along there. Don't be shy. Don't be on your own. Go and say hello to Graham. Graham's our amazing run leader up there. Make sure you go and say hello to those guys. And I'll be up there on Sunday for the Leeds 10K. Ben's coming up with me. He is the cameraman.
Naturally.
And he's got to carry a rucksack. I haven't told him that yet. And so we're heading. We're heading. Wilco, did you do the Woodhouse Moor Park run when you was up there?
No, I didn't get there in time. But I saw the pictures. It looks lovely. It looks like a nice park. And I think it's the one. Is it the first park run that was outside London? So it's bushy. And
really?
Then the second one was in Leeds. And I believe it's that one. But somebody might correct me on that.
Now, Marissa, talking of Bushy, what's this thing you're doing at Bushy Park? And Hayden was talking about it the other day. To be honest with you, I did lose interest, but that's most things that when he's talking.
How rude.
Yeah, well, what are you up to?
It's my 250th on the 24th of August.
And is that the 999,224th park run?
Yeah, I thought I'd make sure everybody comes to my 250 because it's not about the 999, is it?
No. I mean, that's irrelevant.
Yeah,
because it's
totally.
not the 1,000. So what's the point?
Exactly.
So if you're, what was the date again?
24th of August.
I think I'm influencing in Mallorca. That's the only thing. I could come in via Zoom.
I'll do that.
I could.
Zoom, yeah.
I could run round you on FaceTime.
What?
I could run round as you're on FaceTime.
Yeah, why not?
I think you should. I'll tell you what we could do, Ben. This is a brilliant idea. This is my second brilliant idea of the day, by the way. I did have a brilliant idea yesterday as well, remember? But I could go for a run at the same time in Mallorca, and I could FaceTime you, and we could run 3 miles at the same time. So, in theory, I was there.
Yeah.
That sounds like a brilliant idea.
To be fair, I've had some terrible ones, as you know, but I think that's not a bad one, actually.
That's actually really good, yeah.
Now, I do have a serious question for you all. Okay.
Oh.
What do you mean? Oh, everyone gets nervous when I say it. No, be serious, right? Because it made me think today. The Euros are on, right? Which is as dull as dishwater. Absolutely boring me to tears, that is. Okay. But it did remind me that the Olympics are soon to be starting. Correct me if I'm wrong, in Paris, right?
Yeah.
Are you guys going to be like paying any interest in that, Wilco? Do you care?
Yeah, I think I will. I do like the Olympics because it's just sort of like a bit of variety in it. For someone who sort of like is involved in sport, and there's so much sport going on in my professional life, sometimes it's different to do some different sports, and Olympics is that sort of thing. I mean, my guilty pleasure of the Olympics has always been weightlifting.
Oh, I was going to come on to that. Hold that thought. I was going to come on to it. We're going to play a game. Ben, do you care about the Olympics? Could you really care 2 hoots about the Olympics?
I actually do. I quite like watching the Olympics. Like Wilco, I think it's a variety of different sports that you don't necessarily get to see. I quite like the swimming, naturally.
No, you're not allowed to say that. I told you we're playing a game. Now you're going to have to choose something else.
And I can choose many sports.
We should have had some prep for this, really.
We should have.
It's more fun if you don't have prep because you never know what's going to happen. Again, if you're joining us last, we got let down by our guest massively at the last minute. So today we're changing it. I think we're doing a better job because we're going to be talking about what is the hardest running distance. Okay, what distance you find the hardest? Put it in the chat because we're going to be talking about it in a little bit. Sorry, Marissa, do you care about the Olympics? Could you not care about it? What's your thoughts on the Olympics?
I'll watch it if I'm sitting there and it's on.
Yeah, but would you watch, for example, Wilco roll around in a sandpit if it was on?
Why not?
See,
Yeah.
just very
People would pay for that.
Coming soon to the 40 Runs YouTube channel.
Okay, so even though they tried to ruin my game, you've got to now, Wilco, describe, right, your favourite Olympic event to us without saying it. And we will try and guess it. Go.
My favourite
Play along, by the way, play along at home. In the comments, I mean. Try and guess what Wilco is. And he's not allowed to say the one he said. Go. You're not allowed to say what it is.
Okay. People doing Robin Hood impressions.
Archery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that was good.
Okay, only because during London we had a lad in the office. His brother was stewarding and told us that this South Korean girl was absolutely brilliant during the practice, and the whole office had a big bet on her, and she won at about 3-1.
But hang on, Ben, did you get a call about this bet?
I didn't.
Oh,
This is in.
No.
This
there's
was
a common thread here, isn't there?
This was in 2012, mate. When you were too busy. You were in the city, short in the pound.
Large.
You know,
large.
So
Stick a monkey. What? But did you hear today that yesterday, I think it was, there was a gentleman on the Facebook group who's actually started listening to the podcast now. I think he said on the thing the other day, he's in 2021 at the moment or something.
Well, it is, just along with that, I don't know if it's our 3rd anniversary this week since we've been going on Spotify. Because I remember you said at the time, oh, let's do it on a proper podcast thing, And I said, well, let's not do it Friday because England are playing Scotland. No one's going to listen. And you went, okay, then we'll leave it the next week. And then the next day you said, right, we're all set up. We're going on Friday. So
usual thing, really.
Exactly. So, yeah, it's 3 years this week.
There you go. Ben, explain your Olympic event and it's got to be an Olympic event, not one of your favourite events. Olympic event, right? Actually, I've got.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, you're opening this up there.
Go, just say it. Just describe it.
Trunks jumping,
I knew
flipping
it,
through the air.
I knew it. I don't know why. I don't even know why. I was going to say, right, play along, but everyone knows what you were going to go with.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot. Marissa, right, try and bring us back.
Okay,
right.
mine would be exactly what we do. What we all do.
Running.
Drinking.
Yeah.
Karaoke.
Oh yeah, I do that as well. Running, karaoke. Yeah. Track events I like.
Track events.
Yeah.
What is there a specific track event?
I quite like the 100 meters. Short and sweet.
Okay.
I can't get bored then, can I?
Well, there is that, I suppose. But Ben, is there a specific track event that you like?
I quite like the 100-meter relay. I think there's jeopardy in it.
Oh, what? Because they can drop it.
Yeah.
I don't know whether I'm a fan of the. I just don't know. With the Olympics, the whole thing does seem to go on, like, way too much longer. Like probably like this podcast, to be honest. It goes on way too much longer than it needs to. Does that make any sense? All right. Anyway. Yeah, they've lost interest. Okay,
anyway,
look.
we ain't got long to go, have we?
No,
We've got
okay.
about
Anyway,
6 weeks.
I'm gonna play, and I'm gonna put something up, and I want you to try and guess my favourite event. Are you ready? Now you all can play along at home if you're doing this live.
God.
I want you to try and guess my favourite event. There it is. Can you guess what my favourite event is? So I apologise if you're listening on the pod, and Hayden, if you're in the car, you wouldn't have seen this. You might want to watch it back. Any guesses?
Triathlon?
Yes, well done, Marissa. What gave it away?
Oh my gosh.
The worst thing with that, right, was I got sent a screenshot of that maybe 5 minutes before the pod, and I went, I wonder if that picture will make an appearance tonight.
Yeah.
Twice so far.
I'm going to put this one up just for anybody who's got attention to detail.
It's the smile.
Oh, it's a tattoo. I like.
Right, let's move on because everyone would have turned off. Right, anyway, so get in the comments, tell us what your favourite distance is, and while we do that, we're going to discuss quickly with young Ben, because Ben got some surprising news this week. I was at a club session with him, and he said, "Oh, I went in for this thing this week. Oh, you know, whatever." And then he said, "Oh, I'm going in for this ballot." You know, sort of, and then brushed it off, and then like carried on influencing. And then was it last night, Ben? You messaged me.
Yep.
Yeah, I got a message, and I looked at it. And I had to look at it about 15 times because I thought he'd just like done what I usually do and like gone on Canva. So tell everyone what you're now doing in November.
So I managed to get a ballot place with Abbott's for New York for November. So I found that out yesterday, and I got the email. My first reaction, because I've been moaning during the day about how little annual leave I've got left this year, and I just went, "Oh God, how does this work?" But yeah, so really excited. I'm off to New York in November to do the marathon there and get my fourth star.
So that'll be your fourth major. And it sounds funny, but it must have only been like you got in that. What's the chances?
Well, so I messaged Hayden about it as well, and I was like, "Oh, I got that," and he said, "I think there's only about 250 places through it." So it's something I think, Marissa, you were talking about it when we were at the running show. So when you get a certain number of stars, I think it's 3, because you got the one for Chicago. You can go.
I've still not heard about that, so I don't think I've got it.
Is this an overseas thing, or is this open to Americans as well?
No, I think
it's open to Americans.
I think it's open to
Open
everyone.
to everyone.
Yeah.
So as
If
long as you're
you've done
registered.
Abbott's, it's open to you.
Oh, right.
Yeah. And then once you've got 4 stars, I think I can then go in the ballots for Tokyo and Boston. Is that right, Marissa?
Yeah.
Well, you won't need to get in the ballot for Boston, will you? Because you're going to cream it in
'cause you're gonna, get
Berlin. So
I don't know. Have you seen his recent training? It's very slow.
I think he's got scope for improvement, mate. I've got faith in him, even if his coach hasn't.
Marissa, people will start training for New York soon, right? You and I have both done it. what would you say to Ben in terms of like, I mean, obviously you can do tips around where to stay and all that sort of stuff. But, in terms of the race, the reason I say it is because I told him yesterday, because Ben, I'm talking like you weren't here, but you're doing Berlin with me, and then you was going to go and do Chicago, right? But my thought process is, as soon as he got that, was like sack Chicago off, because but New York, and Hayden will tell you, is bloody tough.
It
I
depends
mean,
what you want to do. If you want to go for a time in New York, then I wouldn't.
No.
I would do Chicago, obviously.
I'm just going to say I am still doing Chicago. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
I know we said I shouldn't, but it's only because if Berlin is hot,
yeah.
then
what's that got to do with it?
then I'll do my big
Because he wants
time
a
in
Boston
Chicago.
time.
Oh, I see where you're going. So you're saying you'll back out of Berlin and run with me and sing ABBA.
Yeah,
and then what degrees does it have to be for us to be singing ABBA again? I just need to make a note.
Depends on your back.
Because I just need to know what temperature I've got set in my mind, so I know whether I'm going to be running with you or not. Because
16.
That's low.
You reckon? I think that's high.
16.
16 degrees.
It's September. You having a laugh?
16, and you're going to back out.
Okay. Okay. What do you reckon? 18.
20.
Yeah.
Boy up.
Yeah.
All right, Marissa.
Sorry.
2-footed. I thought we were looking after each other tonight.
No, clearly not. Clearly not.
You're on his bandwagon. Too slow.
Yeah, too slow. I know. In all seriousness, yeah, I think you've got to. I mean, we talk about it like it's nothing, but you have to respect the distance.
Yeah, of course.
But New York is tough, right?
Yeah.
I think if Hayden spoke about it, it is really tough. He found it really hard. So, yeah, I would think about it. What are you going to say, Wilker?
Yeah, when you were talking about New York, obviously you brought in sort of like hills. Does it actually undulate? Because I was saying the other week about Leeds that running downhill took as much out of me as running up the hills. I don't know whether it does that or is it a steady climb sort of thing? How does it go?
What would you say, Marissa?
I'd say it's horrendous.
It is, honestly. It's literally up, down, up, down. And even when you're on one of the long roads, it's still going up.
It starts with a mile climb. So
Yeah.
as soon as you start, you know that you're going up and down the whole bloody way. So you're up, you're down, you're up, you're down. Yeah.
And
I don't know why you bothered doing all this.
And then into Central Park.
Actually, it's still my favourite.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I'm with you, Marissa. It's still such an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. So for me, that's where I think with New York, that one is going to be all about the experience. I'm not going for time. I'm going to have love. I've got my cheerleader coming with me to get her 4th cheer star as well. So I think I texted her before I texted you, Chris. Sorry. But yeah, so she'll be out there as well.
If you're just going to enjoy it, then just do it and do Chicago just before. It's a warm-up run.
And my mum would kill me if I didn't go to Chicago. She's already got it.
I forgot about that.
Mummy,
Yeah, no, you've got to do it then.
Yeah.
I mean, if I cancelled that after I cancelled that.
No. I forgot you.
Yeah.
No, fair play. fair play. All right. So listen, look, let's move on. So again, we'll get into this now, and then we'll circle back to some other stuff. It came up, right, because I think we had a discussion briefly about this several months ago, about what is the hardest distance. So again, if you're tuning in live, I know there's been some stuff in there. Wilco, what have we got?
I've got lots of 10Ks. Lots of people early on said 10K. Dennis said, evening all, 10K for me. Getting it right so hard. Dawn said 10K. Nate said 10K is the hardest for me. And then we've moved up. There's a few marathons got to be the hardest, said Alf Dickinson. Mark Langhorn, no brainer, got to be marathon. What it does show, marathon, says Robert Allen, 16 weeks and 1 day for brutal physical and mental torture. Well, don't bother then, mate. Knock it on the head. Now you're a granddad, mate. You don't need to prove anything. There's loads of 5K, says Rod Lambert. It just shows that it's different for everybody, doesn't it?
Well, I didn't. So let's ask, because I've got some stuff on this that I thought we'd go through and discuss. But let's quickly Don't give me too much detail because we'll go into it because I put some stuff together. So, Marissa, what's your hardest distance to race? Not to just plod about, like like you just ain't got a care in the world and all this sort of stuff. I mean, when you've got to actually turn up.
What, and actually put in some effort?
100 meters.
Yeah, 50 meters maybe.
Down the frozen eye.
I don't know. There's a couple of people on here that have run with me. So, what shall I say? I moan at 5K. So, yeah. Paul Dean, he's had to put up with a half marathon. So is Iddy. So, yeah, maybe half marathon. I do really moan on a half marathon.
Self-confessed moaner.
Yeah.
Ben?
To race, I would say 5K.
Okay. Wilco?
Oh, to race marathon, I've still not got the hang of it.
Okay. And that's a good observation, actually. All right. Well, look, let's go through. Has anybody done on here an ultra?
No.
Okay.
No.
So we will put that to one side because I don't feel like we can discuss that because we haven't done one. So I think that's the right thing to do. So look, hardest running distances, they can be, I think, like we've just seen, subjective and based on anybody's physical condition, right? Mental toughness, all that sort of stuff. Experience, what Wilco just said. But I think if we look at a couple of the distances, and I think let's look at why they're challenging. I think that would be interesting, right? So I'll put some stuff down. So the marathon, we'll start with the marathon and we'll work down. We'll do marathon half, 10K and 5K, yeah? Mm-hmm. Now, again, let us know what you think about this in the comments as we go. So why is the marathon hard? So I broke this down. Physical endurance, mental fortitude, and risk of injury, okay? So physical endurance, a marathon, as we know, requires extensive training, yeah, and endurance training as well, which can lead to fatigue, muscle soreness, hunger, and there's obviously that depletion. You can get into depletion of stores and hitting the wall and all that sort of stuff, right? You've then got the mental fortitude, yeah. You've got the mental challenge and motivation of remaining focused and motivated over several hours, right? You're out there for a bloody long time. And then there's the risk of injury, I would say, with why it's, makes it so hard as well, because you've got that repetitive motion constantly, continuously over the 26.2 miles. And that aside, you've got 16, 18, 20 weeks of training, which can cause, as we all know, stress fractures, shin splints, tendonitis, IT band issues, you name it, knee problems, all the usual stuff that comes from that repetitive motion of training, yeah? So what stands out for you in the marathon in terms of what makes it hard, what makes it maybe a little bit easier than some of the others, Marissa?
It's training for all the runs is the hardest of anything.
Yeah, what, the time or the
all
distance?
Of it. Because I'm a lot slower, training is just a nightmare. I'm only on week 2 and I've already had enough. I don't even know if I'm going to finish week 2, but I finished the whole of week 1 and I'm really proud of myself. So give me a clap. But yeah, I think it's the training. And I have done like 5 ultras, but not like race them. But it's got to be the training.
Okay.
See, I'm the opposite with that because like a marathon is the only thing that I actually do a training plan for. So I like being in a training plan. I like the structure, and I like sort of like ticking off the days and things like that. But what I struggle with the marathon is that it's a mental thing, and then I think I've done 5 now, and I tend to run them too conservatively. I think from a mental thing, I go out and I'm thinking this is going great, and then it's sort of like, oh, I don't want to go mad, Oh, so I know that I'm finished, but I don't push it as much as perhaps I could do.
Ben, what was you going to say?
I was going to say, Wilco, so with your training, are you training for a time at the end of it? Like in terms, so like now with my Berlin, I'm hating this.
I don't have a time I have a rough idea of what I want to do. So I train and to think, okay, I'm going to train to do this so that I can do 10-minute miles for 26 miles or originally before the weather and things like that, my original aim when I went to Leeds was sort of like if I can do between 9.5 and 9:45 minutes. So it's not specific. Oh God, I didn't get 4 hours. It's all been a waste of time. I don't want to put that on myself, but I do sort of like think about that. But then that's something that I think evolves during a plan. I get to about 8 or 9 weeks and I think, right, where am I at? What's going to be realistic for the day? So I try and give myself the best chance that I can to do to complete it at the best of my ability, whatever that'll be.
Makes sense.
Ben, the marathon, what do you find hard?
I think, like Marissa said, for me, the training is the hard bit. It's making sure I'm getting, enough time to get out and do the runs and do the quality runs, but also then have that balance across with strength and conditioning, and getting rest in and all things like that. So I think the marathon training is very intense, and also being conscious of not wanting to get injured through it. So I think that is the toughest bit with marathon training for me. Is I think it's a good 16-week slog, and trying to keep almost wrap yourself up in cotton wool whilst also pushing yourself to limits.
Okay. Yeah, for me, Wilco, I'm with you in terms of the sort of race, mental toughness side of the race. The training I absolutely love, and I enjoy that. I think, as I said to you, everyone on it, in terms of the structure and things like that. But the actual race, I couldn't care less really. It's that mental adaptation. Unless I'm really in it, I get bored.
And also as well, like if you're in the race, you're lining up on that line, and I don't think, like I've done loads more, done loads of 5Ks, 30 odd 10Ks, 30 odd half marathons. I know that it's going to be all right. That marathon, you just think, God, I know that in 5 hours, I'm going to be absolutely hanging.
In bits.
Oh, lucky you, 5 hours.
Yeah, that is true. It's interesting. Right, let's move on. Let's move down to Marissa's worst, because she moans for these 13.1 miles.
No, I moan for all runs. So I just moan a little bit more.
And I'm going to say it's 21.097 kilometers for Hayden because he works in that other stuff. So, again, let's go through it. So, a half marathon. Why is it? What's hard about the half marathon? I think there's a lot, actually. I think there's a balance of speed and endurance with the half. It requires speed, for like the shorter stuff because you can really push it. But at the same time, you've got to do the endurance bit because otherwise at 10 miles or 6 miles, the wheels will come off and you've had one. And the other thing is as well, which I don't think we give as much acknowledgement to, but is that step up, that transition from distance. Because let's say you do catch 5K, you then go up to the 10K. To go from 10K to a half marathon is a bloody long way. And I appreciate relative to the marathon. But you know what I'm saying? That's a big thing because you then step into fueling you've got to worry about, your hydration, and that sort of racecraft, when to push, when not to push, even splitting, all that, there's all that comes into it. And, from a 10K where maybe you was on your feet for an hour and a half, you could be on your feet for 2.5 hours. Do you know what I mean? And that's massive. So I think the step up can be very hard.
Yeah, you're getting to the stage where you can't blag it.
No, you'll get shown up like a marathon. Yeah, at mile 22, 23, your training will show up, right? In the half, it's usually about mile 7 to 8. It's usually because if you've gone like a nutcase thinking you're on TikTok, you can run with your shirt off and do a Hyrex every day, and you're going to go and run a 1:30 half marathon in the first go. You're going to get shown up at mile 7 because you haven't done the training. And those alpha flies that you bought because everybody else is wearing them ain't doing you no favours neither, mate. And it's the lack of training, that endurance and speed, So and also I think racecraft, don't underestimate strategy in a half marathon. It's a fantastic race if you get it right, but if you get it wrong, you've had a shocker. Ben's nodding. Why are you nodding and grinning? Because you've had a shocker, haven't you?
I think my last 3 halves, I've gone out and kind of tried to go for a 1:30, and I think with all of them, it's just been kind of going out a bit too quick, not necessarily having done that speed session training. And like you say, Birmingham 6 miles, 5 miles, I was kind of like done. Got a little bit further in Hackney, and then Southend, Lloyd was dragging me round, and Justin kind of flew past it, just after we'd got up that hill, and I was just like, oh my god, this is like the work, and it was great, from a finishing it, and it was perfect. But as you say, that racecraft for a half is something that you have to really work on.
So would you say that's the hardest thing for you about the half?
Yeah, I think so. And I think it's in the comments, a couple of people, I think Steve and Darren, talking about fueling for a half as well, because it's adapting your fueling strategy from, like, I went into especially these 3 halves thinking, oh, I'll just do what I do in a marathon. Very quickly changed it and kind of took on more fuel and things like that. So yeah, I think it's race strategy for a half for me.
So do you not think, is it possible that you might have peaked and that, like, you've got to that stage in a half where you're not quite going to get there?
But it's
What
just
is wrong with you lot
just
tonight?
said you're absolutely pony.
No, I haven't.
Not progressing.
No, but
I think that's what he said.
everybody reaches a level.
No,
What can you do?
he's absolutely hung you out.
No,
That's brilliant.
no, I don't mean it like that.
Red cards.
If he's got
We can't carry. Everybody cannot carry on running PBs for the rest of their life.
Listen, if he's got to run a BQ time,
Yeah,
the boy has to easily and consistently run a very, very strong 1:25 half marathon, probably under.
So will that be the focus then? So is this going to be a thing
that will show if his training is working?
Right. Okay.
Which apparently it's not right now.
Which is not, because he's not doing it.
Too slow.
It's too slow, and he's not doing it. And he's too busy getting drunk.
I didn't want
people's showers.
The last thing I wanted to do was say, his achievements,
Well, I'm not
that's
saying
it.
Didn't sound like that, Wilco.
Well, maybe I didn't express it in the right way. But,
Do you get your feet? Yes.
what I
retire.
what I would say about half marathons as well that sometimes makes them tricky is that they're extremely popular. They get very congested.
That's a good point.
They get very, they're big. Often you get big crowds, and sometimes you have to just enjoy it. Like, take the Great North Run is a classic example. Every year, people will go up to the Great North Run and say, "Oh, I'm going to run this sort of time, this sort of time." And sometimes the events are just so congested and busy. It's better not to worry too much about that.
Yeah, but I wouldn't necessarily, me personally, if I was targeting to run a time, I wouldn't necessarily pick one of those events.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You see, so you have to approach them differently, don't you?
Yeah, I would pick a active training world event or something like that, or one of the run through ones where it's a little bit less busy. So yeah, Marissa, what about you? In terms of what do you find hard about the half marathon? And you can't say the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Most of it.
Yeah, okay, I'll let you have that one.
I'm not very consistent. I need someone to keep telling me that, I'm going the right pace. I have no idea what I'm doing, really. I just run and hope someone next to me is telling me I'm doing all right. And that's it, really.
Well, you seem to be doing all right, because apparently you've got a PB in South, and I didn't know whether that's true or not.
Yeah, it's only a couple of minutes, I think.
Yeah, but PB's a PB, mate.
At least you haven't peaked.
But my wheels came off at 7 miles.
That's where it does.
Because I don't fuel properly. I can't fuel properly. So, yeah, I struggle.
When you say you can't fuel properly, what do you mean?
I've got a bowel disease, so I can't take normal gels and stuff.
Yeah.
And
so you struggle to get it what you need to get in you.
Absolute nightmare.
Well, what do you take then?
Not a lot. Shock blocks, or I've just tried these jelly bean things that are absolutely useless. So I'm back on the Kendall. I'm going to try the Kendall again.
Okay. All right. There's a discount code. You know what it is, Ben?
I think it's 40 runs.
Well done.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think the half marathon is hard. I think it's hard, like we all said, for those various reasons, but don't underestimate. I think, again, the step up to go from 10K to a half is bleeding hard. So if that's something you're looking to do, make sure you do the training, please.
Yeah.
Because it honestly, it will show up. All right, so let's take it down. Let's take it down to the 10K. Okay. I think the 10K, it's probably, again, it's similar, but pace and strategy for the 10K. I think it requires more speed than endurance, but making the pacing and strategy is like so crucial. And because you can go nuts, and we'll come on to it. And there's also, I think, the other thing that's hard about the 10K is the pure intensity of it. Again, the 5K is similar, but you run a 10K at a relative high intensity, right? Often near those thresholds. Yeah, and it does make it towards that 7K, 8K part of the race excruciatingly painful if you are absolutely necking it, right? So I think they're.
I don't know why you would do that. Why would you do that to yourself?
Well, that's the thing, right? The caveat to all of this is if you're trying to go, and it's relative, yeah. Your hard effort is relative to you. Okay. So again, you could be looking to go an hour and a half, and that could be absolutely brutal for you, right? Or you could be 30 minutes like Mr. Sandiford's trying to do. It's like it's all relative, but you all still feel, because your body's all work relative the same way. You will get to that point in which you are hitting those, thresholds, let's call it, that red line, and it will feel the same. So it doesn't matter what necessarily pace is. But I think the 10K, a lot of it comes down to strategy. I know the half does, but I think if you get the strategy right on a 10K, it can be majestic because you can literally fly. But if you go out like a lunatic, you're done. 3 miles, bye-bye, you're out. Ben, you're nodding.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right. I think when couple that we did last year, I didn't really have a strategy and just let you lead me and break me. And whereas when I did Winter 10K this year, I had a strategy. I was going to run it consistently. And actually, as much as, as you say, 7, 8K, there was a bit that I was like, oh my God, this is hurting. But then you kind of I hit the 8K mark and I was like, I've got 2 kilometers left. Come on, cowboy up. Just look at the time and go, right, I'm on track. And actually, that was great. I thought I've nailed the strategy on this, but it's a hard one, as you said. I think it's more that speed endurance thing. Like kind of lasting at speed is quite hard. Yeah, for sure.
I think one of the problems is that most of us do a 5K every Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, and so when we do a 10K, we think, right, well, I'll just go out like it's a park run and try and hang on. And so you have the mentality of, because you run the shorter distance so regularly, that it affects you in the second half of the race and you go out too quick.
Marissa?
And also,
he's off again. Yeah, go on.
No, sorry. What I also find with a 10K is that if I'm going for a time, the margins become so slim.
Good point.
So, for someone like me, I've been on the cusp of trying to do a sub 50 10K. So it works out easy on the maths, 5 minutes per kilometer. But then if you're sort of like 5 minutes and 5 seconds, you add that up, that's nearly a minute over. There's there becomes such a thin margin for error on the shorter distances.
Marissa, what was you going to say?
I do think a lot of people go out the first 5K and really just go for it. I think I've done it at Battersea actually, and the second half was absolutely horrendous. But I was on for just under an hour at Battersea, but I got 1:02, I think. But I'm going to try for an hour this year.
When are you going to do that? Can you let us all know?
No. Definitely not.
Why not?
Because I might not do it.
We can come down and support you.
Maybe. We'll see.
Maybe. Okay, so you heard it here first. Marissa's going for 10K this weekend.
Not this weekend, I'm not.
Oh, well, okay. What are you doing this weekend? Oh, no, come on, tell me. Okay, so finally, the 5K. What Ben said he absolutely hates. Now, the 5K is what makes it hard is basically the speed and power. Okay, that almost explosive speed that you have to pick up from when the geezer goes go, or they blow the horn, whatever, and it's almost precision in terms of like form and that kind of thing. I think if you're a little bit out, in terms of your form, that will tire you. You know, if you're not on it in terms of your form, that can show up, I think. And I think the other thing is as well is the intense pressure of a 5K. Knowing that you've got absolutely nowhere to hide within, and again, this is all relative, yeah, but you've got nowhere to hide. You can't back off for a section, catch your breath, and carry on, because by the time you've done that, it's over. I think it's. I don't like the marathon in terms of the distance. I hate it because of the mental side of things. But I just find the 5K is the hardest distance to run hard. Yeah, it can break the best of people, I think, if you really go for it. And again, it's all relative to your paces and stuff like that, because you've got nowhere to hide. Marissa, what do you think about that?
I do think a 5K is quite hard. I'm sure it's Hayden's worst distance, 5K. I'm sure he says he absolutely hates it.
No, I tell you what he really doesn't like. Do you want me to tell you what he really doesn't like?
You?
No. Swimming. He doesn't like swimming. He loves country music.
Like bike riding.
He loves country music, but he hates swimming. Sorry, what did you say?
Oh, you're so funny.
Oh, right. But especially the best thing about that, I wasn't actually sent. I was sent that by somebody. That's the thing.
Oh, really?
The whole world's against him.
Oh my gosh! I don't mind a 5K.
Okay. Hang on. Stop the press. She actually
likes running.
She likes running.
No. I didn't. I don't mind a 5K.
Oh, sorry.
Get it right.
So she doesn't mind it. Okay.
Yeah, no, I don't mind a 5K. It's over and done with quite quickly, so
the pain's over and done with. Wilco?
It's quite rare that I sort of like go for it on a 5K anyway, so it's just something that is more of a leisurely part. You know, I give it a good go, but don't go mad unless, like last year when, like last autumn, I'd run a few good halves and I was really desperate to run a sub 25 park run. And then to finally do that was a big thing. But after I've done that, I don't go hell for leather now and then. So it doesn't bother me really.
I think it takes a certain level of confidence to step onto a 5K start line and go, I'm going to have some of this today.
Yeah.
You've got to know, right? Unless you're told, like, on the way down to, like, Kent and the McDonald's, like, motorway station, and you get told that. But other than that, you've got to know that you've got to turn up today. If you're gonna have a go at a 5K, you're in for a tough time for those whatever minutes that you're going to be doing it, right? Ben, you know exactly what I mean, because I've challenged you many times over the 5K distance, right?
You have, and I think I'd agree with you. I think there's nowhere to hide on a 5K. If you are going, you are going. There's such fine margins, and you're not gonna realistically, you're not gonna take much off your PB. Like I think there's so much of it. It's not. I don't know. I never go out with a strategy. It's just kind of go out and hold on and hope that I can. Yeah, like and I went out. I did actually go for a run on Saturday last week. I didn't go on Sunday, but I did park run in Poznan last week, and I was like, oh yeah, I smashed that. And I thought I'd gone out hard for it, and it was probably about 30 seconds slower than Dover, which it's great. I was happy with it, but it's that kind of, there's such fine margins, and so you can really get, I think, hung up on it. So yeah, that's why I think it's the hardest one, because there's nowhere you don't have time to get it back.
As I said, if you want to catch your breath, you're done. It's over. It's hard. Wilco, what's the comments like?
Lots of. Hold on a sec. People are sort of. Stephen, this is a good point. I've run some 800 meters recently, pushing your limit. That's a really hard distance. Yeah, so we're talking about race distances, obviously.
Road running. To be fair, we're talking about
when you. Talking like distances in training that people do. You know, obviously we talk about, what we haven't talked about, like running distances. What's a tough one? I mean, a 20-mile long run along the river on a Sunday morning. Sometimes it don't get much tougher than that.
Yeah. No. So we talked, but I thought I wanted to narrow it down in terms of running distance, in terms of like a race. It's a little bit easy to grab, but you're absolutely right. People, running distance, a 20-mile for a lot of people is super hard. A 10-mile race can be really hard because how do you divvy that up? How do you go for that? How do you apply
I
strategy?
actually don't mind a 10 miler.
Oh, so 5K and 10-mile races
Nailed
is
it.
definitely the way forward.
10 miles I don't mind.
Why is that?
Because it's not a half marathon.
It's 3 miles less than a half.
Yeah, exactly. It's
so
like 5K less.
Do you like a 20 miler then, given that it's 10K less than a
obviously
full?
not. No.
Oh, I love a 20 miler as well.
I love it. I like a 20-mile.
No.
I very much like the accomplishment of a 20-mile.
Yeah, I'd drink to that. Yeah, me too.
I'd drink to anything.
Yeah, we know that. And not necessarily in your own room. But the thing is, what about a 5? Because we had this at the Hatfield 5, didn't we, Ben? We didn't know what to do at the Hatfield 5 in terms of, do you go out like a nutter and treat it like a 5K race? Or do you put some sort of strategy in play and kind of like a 10K? Have you ever done a 5-mile race, Marissa?
Yeah, I don't like them. What is the point in a 5-mile race?
I don't know.
But
they crop up.
It's like there's it's Wedding Day 7.
What's that?
It's a 7-kilometer race. Why would you do 7 kilometers? It's just stupid. Just
it's a bit strong.
Do a round figure. Why do? No,
just not feeling fun. Wilco, have you done Hatfield 5?
Yeah, I did it last year.
How did you sort of take that on in terms of strategy? What did you find hard about it?
I tried to just try. Well, because of the 10K, I've been trying to sort of like, and the park run, like the 5-minute kilometers was sort of like the benchmark. I just tried to do it like that. I thought, I'll try and get round in 40 minutes. And I ducked under about 39, just tried to run it like a long park run, really. But enjoyed it. It was all right. It was different. It's quite nice. Like the 5-mile, 10-mile, they're more novelty events, aren't they? They're a bit different.
Yeah.
And that doesn't bring the sort of like the historical
pressure was, yeah.
Well, I can't remember which one I said about, which was the I think it was the 5K. That was it. Literally the intense pressure that you feel like as soon as you're on that start line, because you've got to get out of the gates and get after it and get on your pace.
I suppose a 5-miler, if you're trying your first 10K, might be a good idea.
Yeah, good shout. Like we said about stepping up to the
Think
half.
of something positive to say about it.
Yeah, she's trying to dig herself out. Everyone who does a 5-mile now hates Marissa. But it's a good point. It's true. Like if you're maybe looking to get do your first 10K, hunt out a 5-miler. Yeah. Good shout. No, it's a good shout. It's definitely something to that. I found it very peculiar. I couldn't get my head around that race.
Could you not? I couldn't tell.
No, I just moaned. I was like you, Marissa. I basically moaned for 5 miles.
I feel like I'm Dean and he is you, Marissa.
Yeah, honestly, I just moaned for 5 miles, and he was just like, "Oh, shut up, get on with it," sort of thing.
So someone was overtaking us, and I was like, "Can we take it? Like, come on!" And he's like, "I don't know what's going on right now.
I just want to go home. I think I do." No, but look, I mean, ultimately, the hardest distance, I think what we've found is very much on an individual strengths, weaknesses, and personal experience as well. Like Wilco was saying about the marathon, he's still, and I would say the same, Wilco, that I still don't feel I have got the marathon right in terms of mental aptitude towards it and dealing with the race and all the stresses that can go around that. Like you said, how long am I going to be out here for, and the crowds and everything that goes into that distance is still daunting, despite the however many I've done, which is quite a few. It's still, even now, sort of, I still don't feel I've got it. I think I've nailed a half marathon in terms of how to navigate that, in terms of when to push, not to push, and how I'm going to tackle it. If I'm doing a hard effort, I'm going to enjoy it or just cock about. They're the sort of levels for me. And it's the same with the 10K. I personally love a 10K. So I'll tell you what, out of those 4 that we said, which is your preference, Wilco, out of those events?
Half marathon, I think.
You like a half. Yeah. Marissa, I think we've established that it's a 5-miler, isn't it?
Yeah, I'd probably go for a 10K.
10K. And Ben?
Half marathon.
You'd go to half as well.
Yeah.
Which is surprising. I thought you might have said the marathon. Now you seem to have adapted to them quite well.
I like the marathon, but if I'm racing, I'd probably go the marathon, but I like doing halves. I like that, as you said, I can push when I want to, but equally, like I'm really looking forward to, when we do big half GNR, stuff like that, kind of actually running with friends and just chatting.
And getting to the pub quicker.
Absolutely. I'm not drinking. I've got to get a BQ time.
Yeah, he's not drinking. That's the thing. I love this. What was that? The Paul Hayden had the M25 close. You're correct, Dennis. That was the reason. If everybody remembers, several months ago, the M25 was closed. Is they needed to put an extension in at Hayden's. I took resort now. He had the pool put in, which is now operational, which is where he was today. I don't know if you saw this if you're tuning in late, but this was actually him on holiday, on his Saga holiday that he was where he was last week. No, the week before last. So that was that. But yeah, I think again, it just shows you how individual it is. The half is always very, very popular amongst people, as you say. I think because firstly, it is accessible to a lot of people in terms of if you do, you can train for 12 weeks and you can, get there. And it's a daunting distance, but it's achievable for a lot of people who start out on their running journey. I think that makes it accessible. You can do half marathons. I know some half marathons, we've spoke about it, are a lot of money, but there's others that aren't as much money, right? So I think that makes them a little bit accessible. And you can, if you want to, go hard in them, or you can, try and use them as a training run, or you can just go out there and cock about and have a good time. It's there's every layer of it, and you can really have a good time with a half. With same with the 10K, but if I'm mucking about at a 10K, I usually get bored. If I'm not going for it, not going like as in like flat out, but if I'm not trying to put a bit of a shift in, I'm Ben will tell you, I usually turn around at mile 1 and go on board. It's like I'm really not feeling it. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'd rather run it hard, so I feel like I'm getting something out of it. And it's the same with I like park run, but other than that, I've got no interest doing a 5K race. In fact, I don't think I've even done a 5K race. I think I've only ever done. What have I done? Has anyone ever done it? You've done a 5K race, Ben, haven't you?
Yep, did it at Debden last year.
You did it on 20 Marlborough. Wilco, have you ever done a 5K race?
No, I don't think so. Just park runs.
Yeah, I did. Marissa?
I think I'd done an Easter one with Lottie.
Right, okay. Yeah, I don't think I've ever done a 5K race. I've definitely done, obviously, park run, but that's not a race. That's a run. So it's like, it's a funny old thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
But with a 5K, you always get that sort of like, because you do park runs all the time, you don't go for it every week, do you? So some weeks you think, something like, right, okay, I'm going to have it. And other weeks you're like, oh, well, I'm going to go. I'll just have a trot round, So you don't have that. It's not the intensity of I'm always going to do it, because you're doing so regularly.
Yeah, definitely. There is that. Okay, all right. So look, that was interesting. Thanks, guys, for that. And I think what was interesting, a lot of the comments, how varied they were in terms of what people's perception is on what's the hardest distance and what's not the hardest distance. So let's talk, because we're nearly there, believe it or not. We're nearly done an hour of this total and utter rubbish. Weekend plans. Marissa, where are you racing your 10K this weekend?
I'm not doing 10K this weekend. I'm doing park run at Dulwich tomorrow.
Why Dulwich?
It's Gemma's leaving. She's moving to China. Gemma from London Satellite.
Good shout out, that is. She's a national treasure.
She is the cutest person ever. So if you are bored, come and see us. We'll be down there. Okay. And then I'm doing Sue and Dave's Epping Forest run on Sunday.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Right, so what's the deal with that?
I need to do 10 miles training.
Obviously, it's in Epping Forest, but where can people turn up?
Sorry, go on.
Yeah, go on. Do you know? Because I don't.
Yes, it is 11 o'clock Sunday morning at Loughton Tube Station.
Yeah, that's it.
Which is on the Central Line. I did see somewhere that there might be some works, but I'm not sure.
There is works, yeah.
But
and
it's on the
also
Central
there's road works as well, apparently, on the way.
Yeah.
At Biggin Hill or something.
What? Oh, that's where Hayden lands
his helicopter.
No, the helicopter's on his own land, on his resort, as we now call it. Wilco, where are you park running?
I think I'll go to Berkeley tomorrow.
Oh,
just out the road, because they do their summer course, more hills.
Oh, couldn't think of anything worse.
So I'm doing that.
I think Ben Bailey was. I might be wrong, but is Ben Bailey going there this weekend?
I think you might be wrong. I don't.
No,
think
it's
so. I
he had
thought-
it on his list.
Because he's doing all the hearts, isn't he?
Is he?
Message Ben Bailey to see if he wants to join you. He's out tonight. I think he's out. But
Oh, is he?
no,
Oh,
because
right.
I asked him if he wanted to come on.
Yeah.
And he said he'd love to, but he's out. His missus has booked him, which he had the right arm about. So message him because I think he was looking at doing bar.
Oh, right. I'll
I
see then.
swear, is that right, Ben? What was he?
He said he's got to do all the hearts, so
Why?
I think he's
Well,
going for
because
King
people
of,
do,
King of
don't
Hearts. It's one of the challenges.
Okay, everyone for their own.
So yeah, doing that, and then Epping Forest on Sunday,
So you're at Epping
which
Forest
will be a
as
nice
well.
little. It's a very nice leisurely trot off road.
Is
Bring
there,
the
is there an
crowd
event in the
to-
Facebook group set up for that one?
Yes, there is. Yeah, you can
Good.
find
So
that
that's
in there.
good. Let's signpost people there if they want to turn up. Thank you very much to Sue and Dave for organising that. We appreciate it. Thank you very much. What's this? Off to Sandhurst Park Run to celebrate Callum and Nikki's birthday. So some people are going to Sandhurst Park Run if you're at Loose End as well tomorrow. So there's lots going on. Ben, are you joining me in the morning?
Yeah. Well, you're joining me.
Am I joining you? No.
Well, I think I'm going to have done a lap before you get there. I got 14 miles on the plan.
Oh, are you? I'm going there. I'm not. I'm going to do 9. What's the point? So I'm going to do that.
Because you'll slag me off on and say that I haven't put any.
Yeah, I
effort
might
in.
message you as you're going round. It's a bit slow. Okay,
Speed
so
up,
you're
sir.
doing that, right? So we're doing laps around Hartham Common because marathon training is in full swing. I'm still behaving myself and doing 30 miles a week and no more, no less at the moment until I step out of that, which I think is it next week or the week after I come out of that? I think it's because next week we've got the Pride Park Run, so make sure you sign up to come along to that RSVP just so we can let the people at Park Run know how many extra bods.
And they're doing that up north as well on the Facebook group. They've
Okay,
got a
so what's
similar
that
event.
details on that?
Check it out on the Facebook group. I
Go on
can't
the
remember,
Facebook
which,
group,
I can't
well
remember
done.
which one it is, but there is one up north as well for people.
That's really helpful because the North's only a small place. So
Right
yeah,
up north, like Newcastle somewhere.
go on the Facebook group and find that as well. Just hammered him. He's not had a good time tonight, has he? I think it's still the best comment I've heard all night is the fact about you peaking and you're done.
I thought me and Wilco were mates.
Well, we'll
Yeah,
see, won't we?
I think that's brilliant. It's just the way you totally hung him out.
I am in the prediction business, so you know.
Yeah,
Oh, well,
you
we having a
let
bet on it.
Yeah, I was just saying, you don't let any of your mates know when you do it. That's the only thing, Wilco. He keeps himself to himself.
I
Yes,
look forward to him proving me wrong.
Yeah, you
Yes.
will.
He will. So, and then Ben and I we're influencing in Leeds. On has any Marissa? Have you ever done Leeds 10K?
No.
Wilco, do you reckon it's going to be like the marathon up and down and all that?
Oh, don't know.
I've heard it's hilly because
Yeah, it's quite hilly up there.
Sue's daughter's up there, Sue Quinn. So I
What
heard
she said it's hilly.
Yeah, she said, I think there's a few hills.
It might not be flat.
It's
So
going to
I'm
be
gonna-
quite warm. They put a
I
thing
don't
out
think it's
today.
going to be flat.
They did
They said it's
22.
Yeah, 22 degrees. So
Ooh, warm.
Well, take it easy then, mate. Take it,
no,
mate.
I'm definitely taking it easy. I'm not allowed to go.
Am I carrying a backpack?
We'll be all right, won't we, Will Kay? Because we'll be off to the pub.
In the trees, in the pub.
Actually, you know what? Epping
Walk
Forest
in
would be
the
a lovely
woods.
place.
It's
What's
gonna be
nice
great.
about Epping Forest? This is going to sound a bit weird. It's got, and most people would have switched off by now. But whenever I go there, it sounds a bit weird. But it feels like when you're in the middle of Epping Forest, it feels like the air is like a bit cleaner. I think because of the trees and because there's so many trees in there, it always feels a little bit cooler, and the air feels a little bit fresher. I might be going completely nuts, but whenever I run through
There's
Epping
no
Forest,
cars.
huh?
There's no pollution, is there? It's just the
It's
trees.
just so much
fresh.
oxygen come out. Yeah, it's beautiful. It really is. It's such a great place to run, Epping Forest. If you get the chance, go and meet the guys on Sunday.
Yeah,
'Cause
come.
It's a
Yeah,
cracker.
11 o'clock.
Mind you, that's a bit up and down in places.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I took the boys there. There's a video out about it.
You got lost.
Yeah, we got lost. I think it's even the video's called "We Got Lost." and then we went to the pub afterwards because there's like the golf club next to where we parked, and we went in there and we had the best breakfast. It was unbelievable. No, it was a good day. Yeah, I'd recommend it. Right, so I think that's it, guys. Thanks very much to everybody for tuning in to this. We're definitely adding more value than the whole of the England football team, which is good news. We shall be back next week. We shall be looking forward to Pride weekend. So we're going to be discussing that a little bit as we get into that. I'm not sure if Hayden's here because he could be saving people's lives. So there's that to consider. If you see him on the beach, just ask him what his favourite country song is. I don't think I've missed anything out. Thanks again to our sponsors, Sketches, where you can go to which website, Wilco?
Sketches.co.uk.
Oh, well done.
Oh, well done. He got it right at the end. And I think that's it. Ben, have I forgotten anything?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, Ben, take us out.
Bye, boys.
Bye.